Hi, and welcome back to the Scent Advocate. Tonight's video is going to cover some amazing fragrances I bought on my recent trip to Las Vegas. I visited the Chanel boutique at the Wynn Hotel, and I had the best experience sampling the Les Exclusive fragrances. Now, I've had my eyes on these for a while, but I felt uncomfortable spending the amounts involved without having fully tested the fragrances. And visiting the boutique gave me an opportunity to do that. Now, I believe there are ways you can go to the Chanel website and make a purchase and get some samples, but I wasn't really sure, and the price point is between $350 for 75 mil and 500 plus dollars for I think it's 200 mil. The bottles I purchased were 75 mil. But still, at that price point, I wanted to be absolutely sure. And for one reason or another, I can't blame Chanel because I didn't pursue um, the samples through the website. And I don't have a local boutique. I would have to drive upwards of 3 hours into another country, and maybe not three, maybe it's 1.5, to get to Toronto or go down to New York City, neither of which was convenient. So it turned out I was in Las Vegas and had the opportunity, so I took it. So today I'm going to go through exactly what I bought after I tested all of the Les Exclusive fragrances. I did a short video on Comete, and this is it right here. Absolutely wonderful fragrance. By the way, they come for the 75 mil in these beautiful boxes, and they're pretty sturdy, and they look like this. So you can see the presentation, and of course they're wrapped in some cellophane, but pretty sturdy boxes, and the fragrance sits inside like this, and very, very nice. So Comete, starting with that one. I get a strong vanilla accord from this, but the notes are not vanilla, at least not according to the website. I also detected quite a bit of musk, and I was right on that one. So this is an eau de parfum, 75 mil. I did pay $350 plus tax for it. The notes are cherry blossom, heliotrope, and musk. On the paper, the cherry blossom is way more pronounced than it is when I spray it on my skin. And for some reason, I think it's the heliotrope, that gives me kind of a powdery feel with a slight vanilla edge to it almost every time I smell heliotrope, but truly beautiful. The interesting thing about Comete, as well as all the fragrances from the Les Exclusive line, is the stories. So each one is named after something having to do with the House of Chanel. So Comete is named after a necklace that Gabrielle Chanel created, and it's got a celestial theme to it. And so this fragrance, I think, reminded the house, or called to mind for the house the beautiful necklace that she once created with the celestial theme, which I thought was really, really charming. The interesting thing about all these fragrances, in addition to the notes being somewhat surprising and the themes after which they are all named, is these fragrances, unlike any other fragrance I've ever tried, these evolve. So I actually went into the boutique and tested these multiple times. I fell in love with Comete right away, and I let it sit on my skin for a little bit while I perused the store, but No, this was a definite day one purchase. But the others that I purchased, I tried for a couple of days. And some of them were initially, I wasn't sure, or it was a definite no. But the evolution of the fragrance over time, or fragrances over time, were just astounding. And so Comete stays for me. Um, Somewhat floral, but the powdery, musky, that vanilla that comes out for me really got more pronounced over time. So if you have an opportunity to test Comete, I cannot recommend it enough. Gorgeous stuff. Next, we've got Jersey. Now, this fragrance is named after the kind of free-flowing, free-spirited fabric out of which Gabrielle Chanel created some of her masterpiece clothing. And this too is an eau de parfum, 75 ml. This fragrance is just really fun. The notes are lavender, vanilla, musk, and bourbon. This one I was on the fence about for a while. On paper, it's not great for me. And on my skin, it evolved so dramatically. But at first on my skin, it was the same thing. It was just like, meh, I'm not sure. Yeah. Give it just a few minutes and it blossoms. And then give it 20 minutes and you are in absolute heaven. I don't know how they do this, how they manage it, but it's extraordinary. The lavender in this fragrance comes off sharp and citrus to me. And I don't usually get a citrus accord from lavender. Lavender for me is always very relaxing, comforting, kind of, puts you in that sleepy time mood. It makes me think of that sort of kind of docile experience. This has more sharpness to it. It's a citric type lavender. Young, strong, vibrant, energizing. The bourbon, I just don't get. Not even a little. The musk is really muted. I get a lot of lavender from this, but when it settles down, that vanilla comes out, that musk comes out. I still don't get the bourbon, but this is definitely unisex, unlike Comete, which I think is unisex, but it leans feminine. It's definitely got more of a gender connotation associated with it than Jersey, which is more middle of the road. It's more of a summertime fragrance or a warm weather fragrance. I wouldn't say it's inappropriate ever, but at least at first, I think it's more daytime and warm weather. As it settles into the skin, which it is starting to do now, it could easily go into cooler weather. I probably would never think of this as a nighttime kind of cocktail hour scent, but you do you, wear whatever you want, whenever you want. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. What's interesting about Jersey is a little bit more than Comete. You get some of that quintessential Chanel aldehyde sharpness, but it's so great because it's such a clear part of the the lavender, the way it comes across with that citric accord, it's such a discreet, the aldehydic note is such a discreet part of it. It's just woven in so seamlessly. You don't even realize. And then when you think about it, oh yeah, there it is. That thing that all Chanel fragrances, not all, many Chanel fragrances have. There it is. It's in Jersey as well. So you'll notice that Chanel DNA in here as well. Beautiful stuff, Jersey. Next, I've got Boy. And of course, fans of this house and of Gabrielle know that Boy, Arthur Boy Capel, I think, or Capel, was the love of her life. He was an English polo player, and she named an iconic handbag. Well, she didn't. The house named an iconic handbag after him. And, you know, if you're interested in her life story, he's a big part of the latter portion of her life. Anyway, this fragrance has lavender, geranium, and wood. And I love the nebulous wood description, or lack thereof, on the Chanel website. It's just wood. And it's the strength from the wood that really brings this otherwise maybe not atypical fragrance into a more strengthened position. It's the strength of the wood that gives it more of that masculine backbone. And I think from this, the lavender is really muted by the geranium. And I'm not a fan of flowers, but it's definitely a different lavender than I got from Jersey. It's more fougere, and the wood really comes out later as a way of settling those florals together into something more substantial, less floral ultimately, and more strong, more masculine. Is this a masculine fragrance? Sure. It's got that barber shoppy kind of fougere feel, but it's just so magical. It's wow. And so completely different from when I smelled it in the boutique and when I took the samples from the boutique and tested them at the hotel. It's got a faint hint of what was in Comete. Very, very faint. I think, I don't know, I think it's the way these flowers play together. There's just, I guess I can't say that it reminds me of Comete, and I can't say that it reminds me of Jersey, but I think these Les Exclusives, again, have something of a Chanel DNA that ties them all together, and that's what I'm getting from Boy. It's definitely striking me as more masculine than the other two. It's fresh, it's exciting, it's something you could, wear during warm weather, wear during the day. Once again, leaning masculine, but still a safe unisex bet. Beautiful stuff, Boy. Next, we have, and I'm just flipping my notepad here for the details, Les Lions. This was another one that it took me a day, and I don't know why, because when I fell for it, I fell hard. It just blew me away. I think these smell so differently on paper than they did on my skin when I tested and then let them sit for a while. It was just incredible. Wow. Wow. This one, among the lay exclusives that I bought, this one is probably, well, it's not the most complex, but it's almost the most complex. Wow. Oh God. It's just stunning. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the notes are amber, leather, labdanum, patchouli. Listen to me, patchouli. It's late and it's Friday. Patchouli, vanilla, bergamot, and lemon. Oh gosh. So what jumps out at me is the amber, big time. And it plays around with those resins, and it's bolstered by that vanillic leather. Oh boy, it is so special. Now this leans masculine, and it makes sense, right? Le Lion, which by the way is named after Gabrielle's zodiac sign. She was born in August, I think the 19th, 1883, and she's a Leo. She was a Leo. And this fragrance is meant to capture the strength and dignity and poise of a lion, traits that she herself embodied. And so that's the backstory on it. So, so good. If you like cold weather fragrances, something that gives you a strong, comforting hug, this is definitely it. Oh, it's beautiful. And again, it's lovely on paper, but on your skin, it takes on a completely different life. And the longevity for this is fantastic. My daughter, who is 13, adores this. It comes off as masculine leaning because it's dark, it's strong, I don't know, it's just got this masculine leaning feel to it. Evening time, cooler weather, and yet my 13-year-old just couldn't get enough of it, and I don't see how anyone could ever get enough of this. It's incredible. Le Lion. And then finally we have 31 Rue Cambon. Here it is. This is named after the address of the house of Chanel, and whoa, it's a sheep. And those of you who watch know that I love sheep. Wow. The notes are iris, black pepper, and vetiver. Yes, yes, and yes. Oh my God, what a stunner. Now, it has to be a sheep, right? It's got to have either patchouli in there or some oak moss, one of those structural necessities in order for a sheep to exist. Which one? I'm going to go with the oak moss on it. If you know, leave it in the notes. I feel like this has got an oak moss in it. Could have both. I'm not sure. Completely addictive. They have to like sheeps. If you do, this is the one for you. Wow. Amazing. Now, I say that loosely, okay? These are expensive, at least for me, purchases. This was a rare treat. I will treasure these, and I strongly suggest testing them before buying. There are other members of the exclusive family. These are the ones I felt I could not live without. And after having coveted them for, gosh, a long time, I was in a position to scoop them up, and I did. This is highly unusual for me. I don't think I've ever purchased like this before, and there was saving up involved big time. So 31 Rue Cambon, absolutely love it. And those are the 5 fragrances that I purchased from the Chanel boutique in Las Vegas at the Wynn. By the way, if you get a chance to stop into that boutique, they are absolutely wonderful folks there. They were so helpful and very, very patient. I took my time, went back more than once, and I very carefully selected what I walked away with, and they couldn't have been more accommodating. So I definitely recommend checking them out if you're in the area. Meanwhile, let me know what you think of these fragrances. Have you tried them? If you have, what do you think? And how do you think they stack up against some of the legacy favorites like Chanel No. 5, Coco, number 19, Mademoiselle? Leave me a comment. And hey, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Give me a thumbs up and have a great rest of the night. Bye-bye.